am your teacher, Mr. Pacitti, and this is my living room here in Newcastle upon Tyne. So put away your mobile phones, put away your Sonya Devilles. We'll get there in a minute. It's time to concentrate, it's time to study. This is SmackDown, and this is Graded. We are kicking things off with Miz TV, but before John Morrison and The Miz can make their way out, the Usos start making their way to the ring. They're bragging about how they're going to win the tag titles at WrestleMania, but before they can even get in the ring, they're interrupted by the New Day. Kofi and Big E just go, no, we're going to win the tag titles at WrestleMania. It was more entertaining than I'm perhaps making out, but this is the crux of the matter. This is the basis of the promo. They're just going, we're going to win. No, we're going to win. Big E made a joke about anal, so there's that. It looks like it's all about to kick off between the Usos and the New Day when finally Miz and Morrison make their way out. They stand at the top of the ramp. Miz TV's going to get started. Why is it Miz TV, by the way? Dirt sheet is a thing. Morrison's right there. Poor Johnny. Miz and Morrison start bragging about how they've smashed every challenge thrown at them, and then they say, yeah, you guys, you can bicker all you want, but come WrestleMania, after the match, we're still going to be tag champs. That's pretty much it. Anyway, Miz and Morrison start bragging about how they've smashed every challenge thrown their way. They're going to retain at WrestleMania. And that's it. That's enough for the New Day and the Usos. They start heading up the ramp. They're going to attack Miz and Morrison, but after a little bit of a scuffle, Jimmy, I think it was Jimmy, accidentally super kicks Kofi, and they're like, oh my god! Even though it's a triple threat match, and they're all against each other this weekend anyway. But oh my god! The brawl continues for a bit. Miz and Morrison end up coming out on top after taking out Jimmy J and Big E at ringside, and this gets a C+. It was perfectly serviceable, but it amounted to little more than all three teams going, we're gonna win! No, we're gonna win! No, we're gonna... And that was basically it. C+, might even be a little bit generous. It was fine. One thing to note is that we still don't know what is happening with The Miz at WrestleMania. I thought they might address this last night, but I guess it was taped before Miz got sent home. So at the moment, the currently advertised match is the triple threat with the Usos, the New Day, Miz and Morrison. But we also know that Miz isn't actually going to be there. So who knows how they're going to address this. One thing that I'll say is that I really hope that we eventually get this match, the advertised WrestleMania match, down the line, because you can imagine it being absolutely terrific. Miz and Morrison, Usos, New Day ladder match could be fantastic. So give it to us eventually. Next up, it's triple threat action as Naomi, Lacey Evans and Tamina go at it, while Sasha Banks and Bayley join Michael Cole on commentary. A quick note on Bayley and Sasha, I thought they were great last night. I think some of their promos in recent weeks have been a little bit cringy, and that's been exacerbated by the fact that there's no audience, but they've been cringy nonetheless. However, in this less scripted environment, joining Michael Cole on commentary last night, I thought they played their roles really well. As for the match, it was alright, wasn't it? Naomi and Lacey team up in the early stages to try to take out Tamina. Tamina quickly seizes control with big power moves and awkward facial expressions. Halfway through the match, Sasha gets involved on the outside. It's no DQ, triple threat. After all, she takes out Lacey Evans, but then she gets taken out herself by Naomi, and Bayley stays on commentary. Doesn't help her little buddy out. Ooh. Skip forward a bit, Naomi looks like she might have the match won, but no. Bayley gets involved. She does that thing, like when you play in 2K and your opponent gets a little bit too close to the ropes and you jump up and you go bonk, like that. She does that, which allows Tamina to nail a super kick and pick up the win. Go on, Tamina. After the match, Bayley hops in the ring and she shakes Tamina's hand. She's like, I'm honoured to have you in the match at WrestleMania. Good job. Good job. No, it wasn't. Bayley eats a super kick. She gets laid out. Sasha Banks then comes in and she's like, hey, we go way back. Remember Team BAD? No, I don't really either. But it doesn't work out. Sasha gets laid out as well. Tamina standing tall on the go-home show before WrestleMania. Sentence that I cannot believe I'm saying. C+ here, WWE doing everything they possibly can to make Tamina feel like a viable threat ahead of WrestleMania. But it's all a bit pointless, isn't it? She's not very good. She's not going to win. I hope she does win, because it would be really pissing funny, wouldn't it? Tamina as champion, imagine the promos. That's money right there. But no, I'm excited for the match at WrestleMania, the 5-way, simply because I think there are a lot of interesting possible outcomes, essentially. I think the most likely thing that we're going to see is Bayley and Sasha feud after WrestleMania. Whether that's for the title or not, I don't really think it matters. In fact, I said this last week, and it definitely plays into my predictions, but I hope somebody else wins the belt, because I think there's enough story there for that to be good without the belt involved as well. We'll see. I want Naomi to win. I predicted her. She deserves it. She's great. Or Tamina. I don't mind either way. We then get an update to the WrestleMania 36 card, and it is revealed that Bill Berg's opponent will be Braun Strowman. And the way they did this was fantastic. So, out comes Bill Goldberg. He's about to speak. He puts the mic to his mouth when all of a sudden, out comes the big dog. And he is angry. He runs down with a steel chair. He's about to whack Goldberg with it. And none of this happened. None of that happened. The way they did it was a simple change to the match card graphic. That was it. Instead of Roman Reigns' face, it was Braun Strowman's face. No explanation, kayfabe or otherwise. What the hell? Jesus Christ. Triple H said that this was going to be dealt with in a unique way. His words, not mine. I can't wait to see the video package that they put together, because what a story there is to be told here. Next up, it's time for Tucker versus Dolph Ziggler. I'm going to breeze through the match because the post-match shenanigans are far more interesting than the match itself. Which isn't to say the match wasn't good, because the match was good. Tucker showing real intensity in this one, and again, proving me wrong. He's really bloody good, isn't he? Sorry, Tucker. Tucker hitting big power moves, Dolph Ziggler selling like he's bloody, well, Dolph Ziggler. Things spill to the outside eventually. Dolph Ziggler raking the eyes of Tucker and then hitting him with a zigzag on the ring steps. It's a DQ. Let's talk about what happened after the match. As Dolph is literally about to murder Tucker, he's going to drop the 2-ton ring steps on the poor man's head, outruns Sonya and Mandy, and they're going, no, what are you doing? Don't do it, Dolph, you're going too far. And then out comes Otis. He's going to get his hands on Dolph Ziggler. He's going to save the day. But the hacker graphics, they start appearing on the screen, all that stuff, and the words, "the truth will be heard," appear. And then we cut to a shot of a mysterious hacker man. It's the guy responsible for all of those crazy flashing bollocks, right? And he's sat in front of, get this, 5 computer monitors and 2 laptops. So you know he's badass. And then the 4chan basement dweller says, "Were you paying attention? I told you the truth will be heard." And then he takes a sip from his can of Mountain Dew, and a video starts playing. We cut to backstage on Valentine's Day. Mandy, she's there, she's excited for her date with Otis. She leaves the room for a second, and Sonya grabs her phone, and it's revealed that Sonya is the woman who texted Otis and then deletes the messages afterwards, and then she's seen conspiring with Dolph Ziggler. And long story short, if I could summarize this in one word, it would be bitch. I thought this was brilliant. It's absolutely mental how this is the feud with perhaps the best storyline heading into WrestleMania, and this segment only added more intrigue into that Mania match. So many questions that need to be answered. Who is the hooded figure? Will we see him at WrestleMania? What are Sonya's motivations? Will Otis get his girl? How does Dolph Ziggler get his hair so shiny? It's lovely, isn't it? Lots and lots of questions to be answered. We'll have to stay tuned to find out, unless SmackDown gets cancelled, obviously. But yeah, this was great. It gets an A- from me. Hell of a segment. A lot of people are comparing this to GTV. Remember GTV? And certainly the similarities are there. People take the piss out of GTV, but I think it was a storyline with heaps of potential. Not if it had been revealed to be Tom Green. Apparently that was the plan. It was going to be Tom Green all along. Not Goldust, Tom Green. Remember him? The bum song, all of that stuff. Freddie got, you know what? Can't say that word probably. But yeah, I think this shows heaps of potential. It's a storyline that I'm really, really invested in. And if you told me a year ago that the funny one out of Heavy Machinery versus Dolph Ziggler out of Jobbing was going to be the match that I'm most excited for at WrestleMania, I'd have told you to put down the crack pipe, you pissing mental bellend. But that's what's happened. I can't wait. I can't wait to see what happens. Last match of the night now as Daniel Bryan takes on Shinsuke Nakamura. Isn't it mental how Bryan versus Nakamura can happen on weekly TV and it feels like just another match? Nuts. Sami on commentary again. He's brilliant again, as he has been every time he has sat at that commentary desk. And another solid match. I feel bad. I feel like I'm just saying, hey, this was a decent match. This was a good match. But essentially, like, they're in a really tough spot. But without a crowd, these things feel like they never really get to the next level. They're good matches for sure, but they would be so much better with a live audience. Like, this was a really decent match. It doesn't feel right, does it? I'm trying not to let that impact the grading, by the way. I really am. I will say that Daniel Bryan and Shinsuke Nakamura, it felt like they had a fair bit of fun here. Like they were locking in holds and stuff that we don't regularly see on WWE TV, so that was cool. Again, Sami on commentary, selling his concern ahead of WrestleMania. That was cool too. It was really, really good stuff from Sami. The finish comes as Daniel Bryan manages to lock in the yes lock. It looks like Nakamura's about to tap, but in runs Cesaro, breaks it up. It's another DQ. I'd normally be annoyed that 66.6% of the matches on a go-home show had ended in DQ, especially when the other 33.3% feature Tamina. But they're working with a limited roster, and times are difficult, etc., etc. I'll forgive it this week. I don't actually think this needed to end in DQ, though. Bryan could have beaten Nakamura. It wouldn't have hurt that much, would it? I mean, the matches with Sami, it would have made Bryan look good. But whatever, everything that came before the finish was decent as well. So I'm going to give this a B. This was certainly the best match on the show from an in-ring perspective. And then after the match, this was fantastic. Cesaro grabs Gulak, throws him over the crowd barrier. Why are there crowd barriers there still? Whatever. Bryan then goes for a dive, but Cesaro catches him and slams him on the edge of the announce table, which looked sore AF, to say the least. The heels then take it upon themselves to start beating down Daniel Bryan. They all hit their finishers. Cesaro, Neutralizer, Shinsuke, Kinshasa, Sami Zayn, Haluva kick, and then he starts going, oh yeah, that felt good. That felt good. Like he literally just spunked his pants. Main event time, and it's a promo, but it's a John Cena promo, and it was tremendous. Possibly the best segment since SmackDown and Raw, in fact. Had to head to the Performance Center. Cena very much on form last night. So Cena comes out. He talks about the bizarre situation that WWE and all of us have found ourselves in. He talks about some of the difficulties that they faced, but says, essentially, they're really proud that WrestleMania, the show will go on. He hypes WrestleMania as the most unpredictable of all time, and he's not wrong, which is pretty impressive when you think about it, because this is the one WrestleMania that's been pre-taped. And it's the most unpredictable. Damn impressive, that. He then goes on to address his match against The Fiend. He says that this is exactly what The Fiend wants, because The Fiend thrives on uncertainty. He thrives on panic. But John Cena will not be afraid, and at WrestleMania, his words not mine again, he will squash Bray Wyatt. He goes on to say that Bray Wyatt is not even on the level below him. He talks about Goldberg and how Goldberg exposed a weakness in The Fiend. But Cena is going to go one step further and expose The Fiend as an embarrassment. He just goes, hey, The Fiend at WrestleMania is going to get his ass kicked like the bootleg Mr. Rogers that he is. Cena goes on to accept the challenge for the Firefly Funhouse match at WrestleMania, and then the puppets start appearing. They're popping up from behind the crowd barriers. That's why the barriers are there, isn't it? Because they need people there going, woo, hello, John. So they start popping up and going, after The Fiend is done with you at WrestleMania, you'll stay here forever, 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 forever. And John is starting to get rattled. And then The Fiend himself appears. He's standing on that platform where Elias got tossed off by Baron. And then there's a great stare down, lasts like 20 seconds, really, really intense stuff. And then we cut back to the ring, and Bray Wyatt, the bootleg Mr. Rogers, goes, "What? Let me in!" Like that. A great jump scare, really effective, Really good stuff. He disappears. That's the end of SmackDown. I really loved that last bit. Just the fact that they realised that they can do something that they couldn't do any other week. Because SmackDown was pre-recorded, they could do the cut to the ring and have Bray there and chop it in later, etc. You know how editing works. That was cool. I'm really glad they did that. We saw something similar in AEW, obviously, with Matt Hardy popping up in the bleachers all over the place. It's good stuff, and they couldn't do it otherwise. And I think this was just such an effective closing segment. A really great hard sell for the WrestleMania match. This one gets an A. I love this John Cena, by the way. He was healing it up a little bit last night, and it was terrific. It just means that when Bray beats Cena at WrestleMania, things have come full circle, and Cena healing it up and saying that he's going to make Fiend an embarrassment and all that, it means that that win is going to be so much more impactful for Bray and will undo a lot of the damage that was caused by the Goldberg match in Saudi Arabia. Honestly, just a great promo. As I say, it gets an A. I'm so hyped for this match, largely because I have no idea what it's going to look like. I have no idea what the Firefly Funhouse is, so the intrigue is very much there. Just can't wait to see it. John Cena's always been a great promo guy, right? He really has. But he was seriously on form last night, or a week and a half ago, whenever this was recorded. Good job, John. SmackDown gets a B this week. Everything before the Flair versus Michaels WrestleMania replay was pretty average, if I'm honest. But everything after that, I thought was really great. I mean, the Cena stuff, as I've just talked about there, was the highlight of the show for me. But also, the match between Nakamura and Bryan was good too. And the Otis, Mandy, Dolph, Sonya stuff was very effective also. So this week's SmackDown, as I say, it gets a B. Speaking of WrestleMania, come and join me tonight, 11 p.m. BST, for Cultaholic's live stream before the edited reactions go up later this week. You can set a reminder right now, youtube.com/Cultaholic/live. I'm going to get a bit pissed up. I'm going to get a bit drunk. We'll have some fun together. I'm excited for WrestleMania. I genuinely am. I know it's not the same, but at least it's something to look forward to, and I think the next two nights could be really interesting. It's certainly going to be memorable. Anyway, speaking of getting pissed up, how does a computer get drunk? He takes screenshots